Hello, I'm John Weiss of the Aerospace Education Services Project, and this is the materials preparation video for the simple spectroscope activity of the Summer of Innovation Physical Science Waves and Optics Wave Measurements lesson. The objective of this video is to provide tips for construction of the simple spectroscope. The first step in creating the spectroscope is to create the end caps. You'll do this by placing the paper tube, whether it's paper towel tube or toilet paper tube, end on a manila folder and tracing around the outer edge of that circular opening. Make sure you do not press inward. This is a light mask and you want to make sure it covers the entire end of the tube when you apply it. You'll trace around twice to create two end caps. Once you've traced those circles, cut them out and put the manila folder to the side. You'll need to access it later. Take the first of the two discs, mark and cut a 2 centimeter square from the center of the disc, making sure that you do not cut in from the edge of the disc, as this will let excess light into the tube. Once you've got that 2 centimeter square cut out, you'll set it to the side and prepare to make the thin slit that goes in the other end cap. To make the thin slit, you'll need to use a pair of razor blades. At this point, I do want to recommend that you should know your students as to whether they'll need simply extra adult supervision or if you want to pre-set these discs with the thin slit so that they don't have to use the razor blades. To create the apparatus for cutting the strip, we'll place a single razor blade down onto a piece of tape that is sticky side up so that it attaches, leaving the sticky tab on top to fold over to join the other razor blade to it. You'll then cut a thin strip from the manila folder and place it just above the edge of the razor blade, making sure that it does not interfere with the cutting edge, but is as close as possible to that edge. You then place the second razor blade over the top of the first one, making sure they align exactly, and fold the tape over the top to create your double razor blade. You'll then take the second disc, mark a 2 centimeter line down the center of the disc as a guideline, and then use the double blade apparatus to cut two very thin slits straight down that 2 centimeter line. Make sure that both blades are cutting into the material. Separate the blades and cut across the top of the slit and bottom of the slit with one of the blades to clear out that center thin strip so that you have a thin slit in your end cap. Now you'll take your diffraction grating, whether it be a diffraction grating slide or commercially purchased diffraction grating sheet. You'll cut a square of it and place it up against that mask that you created, the 2 centimeter square from the first disc. You'll tape those together and then tape them to the end of the tube, making sure that you are completely blocking the end of the tube and that it is taped on securely. At the other end of the tube, you'll be placing the thin slit, but before you tape it, you'll need to hold that slit up to the end of the tube, look through the other end at a light source, and rotate that far end cap, the thin slit end cap, until you see lines of color to either side of the slit. I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. Once you have those lines of color, you'll go ahead and tape them down, making sure again to cover all excess light except for that thin slit on the end of the tube. Your final product should look something like this. The viewing end is where the 2 centimeter square is. As you look through that end towards a light source, and remember you'll never look directly at the sun, but towards any other light source, you can look with this, point the thin slit at the light source, and you'll see these lines of color appear, indicating the spectrum of that light source. This is the spectrum of fluorescent lights that are here in the studio that I'm working in. Have the students look at multiple light sources with this, and have them on the worksheet draw out the various spectra that they see. Thank you for viewing this Summer of Innovation training video.